Maui Nui is on a mission to help balance axis deer populations for the good of our environment, communities, and food systems on the island of Maui. They've shared over 126,000 pounds of nutrient-dense protein with the Maui community. Secure your spot now. Become a snack subscriber and join in helping to build more resilient food and ecosystems on Maui. Visit MauiNuiVenison.com. That's MAUI venison.com and use promo code BEAR for 20% off your first order.
There's nothing like snook hook sets at dawn or catching a tarpon in the moonlight. Find your next fishing trip made easy on fishingbooker.com and experience the magic of the Sunshine State or any other destination on your fishing bucket list. Book a blue water adventure in search of sailfish or go snapper fishing with the kids. With over 6,000 captains and trips to choose from, planning your next one just got a whole lot easier. Download the Fishing Booker app on the Google Play or App Store or visit them online at fishingbooker.com to book your trip today.
Sport Dog is the most recognized brand in the hunting dog training industry. The Sport Dog promise to customers is simple. Gear the way you design it. Every product Sport Dog builds is meticulously designed and rigorously tested in the field, ensuring it withstands the toughest conditions you and your dog may encounter. Using tracking equipment on my squirrel and coon dogs is extremely important to me. Get 20% off your first purchase using the code BEARGREASE. Go to www.sportdog.com/beargrease to learn more. My name is Clay Newcomb, and this is a production of the Bear Grease podcast called the Bear Grease Render, where we render down, dive deeper, and look behind the scenes of the actual Bear Grease podcast. Presented by FHF Gear, American-made, purpose-built hunting and fishing gear that's designed to be as rugged as the places we explore.
Carry on, Larry.
I know.
On my shoulder. Don't worry, it's a flintlock.
Well, I would say that we have our first guest on the Bear Grease Render or podcast that is wearing buckskins.
Yeah. And
This is big.
yeah. Very, very stylish.
Yeah.
So we have a very special guest with us today. We have most of the regular crew here. We have Misty Newcomb. Let me introduce, and then I'll introduce our guests. We have Misty Newcomb here.
Hello.
We have Josh Lambridge,
Greetings,
filmmaker.
everyone.
Brent Reeves of This Country Life podcast.
Yo!
Who, Misty, I've learned that Josh and Brent have a secret friendship outside of the render going on.
Oh,
They've
really?
been fishing together all day.
Brent came and stayed with me last night. We went
and
fishing.
they didn't even tell me.
And you weren't even invited.
I wasn't even
And what-
invited.
Even bigger deal, I wasn't invited.
Wait, you didn't tell them all. And
Our
Eva,
little secret.
and Eva made the banana
Ava
bread.
made banana bread for us
Oh,
while we were
wow.
gone.
Oh, it was so good.
Ava's
When's the last
got a
time
good
Ava
banana bread
made
recipe.
me and Misty banana bread?
What's
Been
that?
a while.
Actually, Ava takes pretty good care of me at school.
Yeah, she's a good one.
So
She's a keeper.
So we have the regular crew, and I want to say too, Gary Believer Newcomb has
Counts for the
been.
count
God
these
rest
days.
his soul.
He,
Oh, no. Wait.
he is alive and well. He is fine. Dad had he had both his knees replaced.
Oh, my.
That's
Yeah.
why he hadn't
I
been
didn't
on
know
the
that.
render. You didn't know that?
No.
We used to be friends back before you started hanging out with Brent.
I knew it.
Yeah, Dad had both his knees replaced in early May, and so he's been out, but he's going to come back
With a
bigger than ever.
vengeance.
Strong.
Yeah. So that's where Dad has been. But our special guest is Andrew Wills from
Ooh.
Thanks for having
Nashville,
me.
Tennessee.
Nash Vegas.
Excuse me, but can Brent please give a proper intro to Andrew and describe his attire?
Here's Andrew.
You know,
What are we doing?
Andrew's wearing.
Andrew's wearing a very, I would say, comfortable yet sturdy pair of lace-up leather boots.
Mm-hmm.
Some dungarees, the folks might say, and a very festive and fashionable buckskin shirt with tassels and tied front.
Fringe.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
What do you call them?
Fringe.
Fringe sleeves.
Yeah.
Swanky.
I like
Yeah,
it.
very nice.
Yeah.
Over top of my
Which,
Bear Grylls
which,
shirt.
He's got a
which
Bear
is
Grylls shirt
just
on.
his normal attire. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what he
This is
is
just
every
what you
day.
wear.
That's not untrue. Ask my wife.
Yeah. So Andrew and I, we've probably known each other for maybe a year or so. And Andrew is the guy that recorded and helped me write parts of the Ballad of Warner Glen.
That's right.
Excellent
Which is
job.
He
fantastic, by
did
the
a
way.
great
Excellent job.
Great job.
Yeah. So you can
It's
find
way
that.
better than what Clay had.
It's true.
It's not false.
True.
Mhm.
No, so
He's not wrong.
the story is that I think, Andrew, you had sent an email out
Yeah.
to me about your brand and band called Hawk and Horse.
Right.
And you were coming out with an album.
That's right.
What was the album's name?
It was self-titled. Hawk and Horse was the name of the album. It is a project that I took on to really kind of capture the frontier spirit. And I had a couple people say, you need to send that to Clay Newcomb. So I started digging and I was like, whoa.
What's a Clay Newcomb?
Yeah. Well,
Never
I
heard
heard
of
I heard the Daniel Boone series when I was driving to Wisconsin during deer season, and I was like, what? This guy gets it. So that's when I was inspired to send, my album over.
Well, and so the album is it's about the American West.
Yeah.
You have a song, Jeremiah Johnson. You have, what are some of the other songs about?
They're about fur trappers. They're about mountain men. Very inspired by the movie Jeremiah Johnson.
Yeah.
Inspired by, Last of the Mohicans, but also like books and famous frontiersmen like Daniel Boone, Davy Crockett. I just put out another album called Long Hunter, and it's all inspired by the Kentucky, Tennessee frontier of the late 1700s and frontiersmen like Daniel Boone and Simon Kenton and a lot of those characters and amazing stories from that era. So,
But in Nashville,
yeah,
the reason you live in Nashville is because you're a songwriter. That's what you do
correct.
for a living.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I have.
Wait, let me see. Hold
Yeah.
on. There could be a few things that you could have been that would be more interesting to me.
Oh, okay.
Number one, commercial fisherman on the Mississippi River.
Okay.
That would be
But
slightly.
this is a fad. Like
that
he's
would-
infatuated with it right
That
now.
Yeah.
would be
We
slightly
have
more
highs and lows
interesting.
on Clay's interest.
Number two, okay, just commercial fisherman on the Mississippi River. That would be the only thing. Second on the list would be a Nashville songwriter.
Yeah.
So tell me, how do you be a Nashville songwriter, and how do you make money? And
Yeah. So music.
how much money do you have?
Yeah. Not a lot.
Not worth.
I literally on the drive out here, I realized either my wife or my daughter took the cash out of my wallet. So not much.
Yeah.
But I love music. I always loved music. I grew up with music. Guitar, I picked up the guitar about 15 and just taught myself how to play. And my first instinct was to write a song. I wasn't like listening to the radio going, all right, how do I play One Headlight? I was wanting to
Now
write
we
a
all know
song.
exactly how old Andrew is.
Exactly. I've exposed myself. But I wanted to write songs, and that's immediately what I started to do. And so it was around that time that my son was born, who has some special needs, and we were kind of going through a part of my life where we're like, what are we going to do? And I was like, I'm going to have to stay home with him right now because he's so bad and he can't go to school or anything right now. So I was like, I guess I'm going to start doing this songwriting thing, because I had been in the outdoor industry before. I worked in the backpacking industry.
Okay.
And I was a buyer. So I had a very practical, I was using my business management degree, and I was like doing this. And then suddenly I was like, I guess I'm going to start writing these songs. And within 6 months of me starting this, I won a contest, and then I got a co-write with Andy Griggs, who was a late 90s, early 2000s country singer. And
You know that name, Brent?
Yeah, I do.
yeah, he had a couple pretty big hits like "You Won't Ever Be Lonely" and "If Heaven" and some other. He was right at late '90s, and anyway, he's a big hunter, and anyway, I got the opportunity to write with him, and he's a riot. I mean, he is hilarious. But I got my first radio single with him, and it was just a small market thing, and it was pretty cool.
Can you tell us the song? Do you
Yeah.
want to?
Oh yeah. It's called.
Is that kind of like asking a cattle farmer how many cows he has? When you hear a guy, a Nashville songwriter go, "Yeah, I had a song on the radio," and you go, "What was it?" And then he's like,
Hotel California.
Yeah, you know. It's
You
like,
may
oh.
you may have heard it.
Or it's some song we've never heard of, and we're like, "Oh, I bet. Oh, okay."
Yeah, no, this is a song you've probably never heard of, but it's called "Can I Get an Amen?" And he put that out, and it was and I made hundreds of dollars. It was amazing, but I got hooked. And so not long after that, my wife's job, she was kind of getting over it. And I was like, we could go to Nashville. And so
Where were we all living at this
we
time?
were in Southeast Ohio at the time. And
Backpacking Mecca.
yeah, right.
The backpacking and turkey poaching mecca of North
Yes.
America.
Yeah, actually on that podcast about the turkey poaching really hit home because I literally had my AC unit stolen off the side of my house.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. Same area.
Dang turkey poachers.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was the
Poachers.
same people.
Yeah. But we moved down and I had already built.
So your wife had a job where she could work just
Correct.
about anywhere.
Correct.
And you were like, "Hey, we can move to Nashville."
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
"I'm a famous songwriter now, honey."
I've made hundreds
Ish.
of dollars. Mhm.
This sounds like something I would do, Andrew.
Totally.
Mhm. I'm just thinking about your wife must just be a really great person.
She's a lot better than me. But she was extremely supportive. And so we were like, let's do it. And my son, I think, was like 6 and my daughter was 2. And we're like, let's go for it. This is a good time to do it. So we moved down and I instantly started, expanding my network and writing with, notching up on who I was writing with and learning a lot. Cause I figured out real quickly how green I was and there was a lot to learn. And I'm very, very blessed. I had some incredible mentors who wrote some incredible songs and,
Name drop. We want to hear them.
okay. One of my favorite mentors early on was Craig Bickhart, who he had some hits back in the 80s, like In Between Dances for, who was that? Pam Tillis or something.
Okay.
And
now
then,
we're back to Misty's era.
Yep.
yeah,
Of country music.
but then he was part of a band called SKB. It used to be SKO, and they had There's No Easy Horses, and they were on tour with Alabama back in the late 80s. But he is a fantastic songwriter, and I learned a whole lot from him. But then Rivers Rutherford, who is a legend. I mean, he wrote When I Get Where I'm Going. He wrote, huge Brooks and Dunn songs. I can't remember everybody else's songs, but I could barely remember my own.
A real good man.
Yes,
Brooks and Dunn.
yes. Tim McGraw, real good man.
So when you're a songwriter,
Yeah.
okay, describe to me. Okay, so your family's moved to Nashville,
Right.
And you're being mentored, and you're actually in that world,
Yeah.
getting paid to write songs.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how the song world works, because now you're Hawk and Horse.
Yeah.
Is kind of like this personal thing that you do.
Correct.
Your songwriting is much different than that, because you're
Yes.
writing stuff not about frontiersmen.
Right.
You're like working, and I guess the goal
Yeah.
would be to write some number one song that's on the radio.
Exactly. Right.
I mean, that's the goal of, I guess, every songwriter.
Yeah. In 2015, I signed with Sony, and my calendar was booked out 3 months in advance So I knew like where I was going to be every day, what publishing company, who I was writing with.
A publishing company would say, we need a song, so we need a songwriter.
Yeah.
And you would just be like a talent they would bring in, and they would say, today we're going to write a song about horses.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Really, it was on me. We have what's called a hook book, and it's an idea. We write down, ooh, I want to write a song.
So you have your own hook book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am taking note of all this because
Look at Missy over there.
I'm exhausted.
I have 3 big plans in my life. Number 1, to become a commercial fisherman. Number 2, to be a stand-up comedian. Number 3, to be a Nashville songwriter. Of all those things, I am closest to being a songwriter, right, Andrew?
Well, absolutely. I mean,
question.
technically, you're in.
Are you wanting to move to Nashville?
I mean, whatever it takes, I guess.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe now with the internet, you could be a Nashville songwriter and just stay at home.
Yeah, and stay in the
Zoom in.
Did you notice that Misty said, "Are you wanting to move?"
I kind of like it
Okay.
right here where we're sitting.
Okay, so you have a hook book. So
Correct.
you come to the table with some ideas, but how do they know what kind of songs you're wanting to write? Or how do you know what they want?
Well, it used to be in the 80s and 90s, 3 songwriters would get together and they would throw out ideas. I've got this idea about a pickup truck, and then you throw out the ideas and then you go, oh no, that sucks. How about this? And you might be throwing out ideas for half a day. In some cases, it depends who you're writing with. Nowadays, you're sitting down with an artist, and so maybe they're trying to put a certain topic on an album they're working on, or I need something up tempo, so there's a little more unknown pressure. It used to be just go in and write the best song that's in the room that day. Now it's I'm
Very topical.
You
yeah,
have a
you're
target.
a target, exactly. So it's maybe a little less inspirational to start, but Rivers
more tactical.
Rutherford, he always told me, don't write when you're inspired, write until you're inspired.
Oh,
Oh,
So
like
get
that.
in there, dig in, and you don't quit until you get a. So
Clay's going to be locking himself in the closet. Maybe.
I'm
Okay.
taking notes.
Okay.
I'm taking notes over here.
yeah,
That's good.
there's
Thanks a lot, Andrew.
yeah.
Get off my
Okay.
property.
Clay will be in the barn for the next
I want
6
to hear
weeks.
the backstory of Feed Jake. You know that dog, that song about the dog
yeah.
Yeah.
from I think that was early 90s.
Wasn't it really sad?
It was so Feed Jake. He's been a good dog.
been a good
My best
dog.
friend right
Yeah.
through it all. If I die before I wake, Feed Jake. I think about it every day whenever I'm out of town, and I'm wondering if my chickens are going to be alive when I come home. It's kind of like reverse Feed Jake. But anyway, I'm curious how that one came about. That's all I could think about when Andrew
Missy's
was talking.
wanting to know if you can
I
find
figured
that
you
out
would
for
have
her.
liked that old Tom T. Hall song about who's going to feed them hogs. You ever heard that?
How's it go? How's it go?
It's about. I'm trying to remember the way it goes, the verse. But he's so this guy is sick and he's laid up in the bed and in the hospital bed, and all he can talk about, Tom T. says, all he can talk about is who's going to feed them hogs.
I understand.
It is great, man. It's a
Brent,
great
if
song.
you could sing, you would probably have like the ultimate, just
Hook book.
like, yeah. I mean, you know,
Are we assuming that Brent can't sing?
That's what I'm saying.
Brent can't sing.
Oh, I don't know. I don't believe it. I think Brent can.
Brent
sing.
absolutely can sing,
Okay,
just not well.
so now you're living in Nashville.
Yeah.
Do you have to live in Nashville to be a songwriter?
You kind of do.
Okay.
Asking for a friend.
You kind of do. I tried for a while not to live there.
Okay.
But you can't avoid it. You got to be present to win.
The collaboration and creativity really flows when you're like eye to eye with people.
One of
doesn't
my
it?
first champions in that town, Alex Torres, he told me, I remember calling him up, and I hadn't moved there yet, and I was really like, should I uproot my family and move down to Nashville? And I called him, and I was like, hey, should I do this? And he just deadpan. He was like, if you have to ask, the answer's no. You
That
only
hurt your
come
feelings?
here if you've got to come here.
Yeah.
And that hit me. I was like, pack the bags.
You needed
Saddle
some
up.
conviction.
Yeah,
Burning
exactly.
daylight.
So
Is it true? Okay. Maybe I heard. I don't know where I heard this, but like when you go to Nashville,
Yeah.
and you go to a restaurant, and
Yeah.
someone waits on your table, and they're like a 20-something person. There's a pretty good chance that they're in Nashville trying to make it in the music scene somewhere.
I would say that's very accurate.
I mean, it's like a mecca
Like Hollywood.
for people to show up. And a lot of people, I mean, the vast majority of people would go there and have their dreams crushed.
Absolutely.
Or-
Oh yeah.
or just
By
not-
and
they
large,
just wouldn't make
yes. Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of makes it if you're like Chris Stapleton or whoever, it kind of makes it a pain to go out to eat because everybody's trying to sneak a CD into your sandwich or thumb drive, dropping a thumb
But
drive.
Stapleton was that guy
Absolutely.
that
He
made
was.
it. Man, it's like the lottery. Like, the lottery, absolutely.
Yeah.
They let some people win, and so it gives all the people that don't win inspiration that they're going to win the next time.
Yeah.
I don't know who's controlling this, but
They.
sounds like a rigged system.
The best
Almighty
analysis
day.
is it's kind of like baseball, and there's like the minor leagues is like most of the songwriters, and then somebody gets called up, and
Yeah.
Is it always the best guy?
no.
For real?
Yeah, I mean, there's
That's just like a,
there's
Okay.
that's just like a
of,
coon hunt.
there's tons of ridiculously talented people out there who will never be found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
How's it like a coon hunt, Brent?
The best dog don't always win.
Mm-hmm.
It's the guy that knows the rules.
Or gets lucky.
our good
Paola.
friend Willie didn't win. Willie Nelson couldn't make it in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yep.
He had
Oh.
to go back home.
He went down to Texas and became Willie Nelson.
He did.
true.
Yeah.
He wrote
According
crazy.
to,
He wrote crazy like a mile from my house in a building that's not even there anymore in Goodlettsville, and he gave up and headed down there and became
Yeah.
Willie,
He did all right.
the red-headed stranger.
so I won't put these words in your mouth, but you were like, I write songs every single day.
Right.
Is that true?
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, you just like,
Like you just crank them out. Are you talking about lyrics and music?
Oh yeah.
Which comes first?
It depends on the day.
Really?
For me, the lyrics are the most important part. Especially being in Nashville, it's a song town, and so historically,
wait a
anyway.
minute, what's the other kind of town?
Well, that's more of to me, LA is more of a beat town. Like they
Where
come
would
up
I
with
do best?
Nashville's your
Northwest
place.
Arkansas.
Okay.
You never struggle with words, so Nashville's your town.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, lyrics are usually first because it's the idea. But every once in a while, somebody comes in with a cool lick, and you're like, "Ooh, let's write something to that." So sometimes it's the other way, but.
Ready to win Mother's Day and cement your reputation as the best gift giver in the family? Give the moms in your life an Aura digital picture frame preloaded with decades of family photos. She'll love looking back on these memories and seeing what you're up to today. Even better, with unlimited storage and an easy-to-use app, you can keep updating mom's frame with new photos, so it's the gift that keeps on giving. And this is not a joke. Juju Newcomb has an Aura frame, and we share photos, and they're incredible. Also, my mother-in-law has one. We have them. They truly are really good, really high quality. The Aura frame is easy to set up. It takes just 2 minutes to set up a frame using the Aura app. It also adjusts the display depending on light levels in the room to maintain the true color of your photos. For real, the digital screen is amazing. Right now, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. Listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $30 off plus free shipping on their best-selling frame when you use code BEAR, B-E-A-R, BEAR. That's auraframes.com. Use code BEAR at checkout to save. Terms and conditions apply. I've had a Helix Sleep mattress for over 2 years, and it is for sure the nicest mattress that I've ever slept on. I've slept much better in the last 2 years, been more comfortable than I have for my whole life. And that's true. The Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses, including the award-winning Luxe Collection, the newly released Helix Elite Collection, a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers, and even a mattress made just for kids. Take the Helix Sleep Quiz and find your perfect mattress in under 2 minutes, and your personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door free of charge. Helix has several different mattress models to choose from, each designed for specific sleep positions and feel preferences. Helix is offering 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/clay and use the code HelixPartner20. This is their best offer yet and won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. The old-timers say that the turkeys start gobbling when the leaves are as big as squirrels' ears and the red buds start popping. And we're about there. And we are there in the South. The Onyx Hunt app is one of my most valuable tools in the spring woods. With tools like coniferous versus deciduous tree distribution layer, you can save time by locating edges or transition areas of mixing habitats from home. Find an area like this with water in close proximity, and more than likely, there will be a gobbling turkey nearby. Knowing the exact boundaries of private ground ensures I stay on the right side of the fence, but can easily find public ground to go see if I can't strike a gobbler. If you do get one to sound off, using compass mode and waypoints will help you pinpoint his exact location, allowing you to move in and make the perfect setup to bring him right into your lap. Download the Onyx Hunt app today. You'll be glad you did. Onyx has a special offer for you. Use code BEARGREASE to receive 20% off your membership at onyxmaps.com/hunt this spring.
I'll tell you what gets me about lyrics. You can't speak Spanish by any chance, can you?
No, I can't.
Dadgummit. Listen to songs in English rhyme. Verses they rhyme. Listen to a song in Spanish. I can't find 2 words in there that sound like when you get to the end of a beat when it's supposed to rhyme with the sentence before. I can't find anything.
Have you explored this a lot?
I have asked everybody I know.
Hold on,
If
I'm just
Spanish
thinking,
songs rhyme?
let's just go Selena's Bitty Bitty Bum Bum.
I don't know about that at all.
It's the way
Para bailar la bamba.
Cada vez boom boom boom.
We may have gotten off track
Cada
here.
vez que lo-
How many songwriters do we get in here? We've had.
You have one in your presence all the time.
Okay, how many real songwriters do we have in here? Do
I
we ever
have
get in?
5 original songs, some that
They're
you've
all
never
the ballad
heard.
of something.
Well, yeah.
Hey.
I mean,
All the
everybody's
same-
got to have
Yes.
a
Have
same
you
Same key,
made
same
hundreds
key.
of dollars?
It's like a
Indigenous?
form letter. The ballad of fill in the blank.
Yeah. Yeah, Josh, and that's okay.
I need to
Except
know
for the-
about this.
It works. How many songs have
Spanish.
you written that start off with the ballad of?
the ballad of winning.
How many songs do you think you've written, Andrew?
Definitely over 1,000. Probably.
Wow.
Lord.
Probably 1,400.
If you write every day, you're writing a song every day?
Yeah.
All right.
Do you have like a goal, like I'm going to complete a song today?
I almost always, like, I usually get 5 songs a week. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
now, are you under
impressive.
contract with somebody to do that?
Yeah, I have been. I've written for 3 different companies, and it's funny because the contract says you need to turn in 1,200%er songs or 36 third%, songs per year. But if you're only doing that, you're not in the game. So
Really?
everybody's just writing 4 or 5 days a week, cranking them out.
Wow. And
Yeah.
so you write a bunch of songs that never see the light of day anywhere.
Absolutely.
So it's just, they're
You
just
should-
trying to
yeah.
funnel through as much, and one will ping with an artist.
Right.
So you're writing songs for some of these country artists that are trying to make it into
Right.
the mainstream, which I'm speculating here, but you're not necessarily you're not trying to be like a country music star.
I am not. No.
You would be if they asked you, but that's not like the
Yeah,
goal.
that's not the goal.
You're a songwriter.
Yeah, that's what I'm passionate about is the writing And
And so a home run for you would be for a Luke Combs or
Right.
somebody to somehow hear one of your songs and be like, I want to record that.
absolutely.
And that would be like massive
That
win.
might actually be like a World Series.
That would be the World
Yeah.
Series.
Yeah,
100%.
Luke Combs. I mean, that would be the World Series, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I was telling somebody the other day, say you write 1,000 songs, 5 songs will make you 99% of your money you make in your whole career. Like,
Wow.
it's
So that's like gold mining.
yeah, it is kind of
So
prospecting.
is it the law of averages? Like if I write enough songs, surely one of them's going to be a hit.
Yeah, and that the funny thing is, just because those other 995, let's make sure I'm doing my math right, songs, that doesn't mean they're not hits. That's what's funny.
They just didn't get the shot.
Yeah, or they haven't got. There's just a lot of songs in that town, and then there's back catalog. I mean, for goodness sakes, if you're like, say, Jason Aldean and you're looking for songs, yeah, you're looking at new stuff. But what if there's like this old Waylon song that was never cut?
Oh yeah.
Well, that would be pretty cool. So there's literally decades of back catalog in that town that are amazing. Tom T. Hall songs or Don Williams. It's
So
amazing.
That's
Who
crazy.
has access to the hook book? I'd kind of like to hear about the other side of it. So you're supplying. Where does the demand come from?
Well, the artist. So who, like, say it's like Monday and I look at my calendar and it's like, all right, I am writing with this artist. Say I'm like my buddy Tristan Merez, who's a Texas country artist. And I'm like, okay, he usually writes this kind of stuff. So I'll be thinking, oh, what's a good idea for Tristan? Because I have him coming up on my books next week. So then we'll go in and I'll throw out some ideas and he might have one. The dream is for the artist to walk in with an idea because you know they're already into it.
Right.
Mm.
So as a songwriter, you're like, please let them be excited about something. So because now otherwise I got to sell an idea that I have
Yeah.
and just hope it connects with them. So
Well, I want to hear you play the Ballad of Warner Glenn.
yeah, man.
So this song, we didn't really finish our full introduction, but Andrew wrote me about this Hawk and Horse album that was coming out about the frontiersmen, the West, the fur trappers, and he seemed like a cool guy. And that's right when I had this Ballad of Warner Glenn, like mostly finished, but I said, hey, would you take this song and do whatever you want to it, but record it for me professionally?
Yeah.
And he was like, absolutely. And it just felt like it was right up his alley to do it. And he helped me become a registered songwriter with
Come on.
what organization?
You're with ASCAP, right?
ASCAP.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
It's official. All right. So if for people who haven't, maybe hadn't been following along, we did a big series on Warner Glenn. Warner Glenn is now 87 years old. He lives in Southeast Arizona. We did a video project with Warner. He's an incredible man. And I've spent some time with him on a couple different trips and came back from Southeast Arizona and was inspired to write a ballad about Warner Glenn. And then turn it over to Andrew, and he helped me with some of the lyrics and the chorus mainly, and put some magic on it. So sing it for us, man.
Yeah, I didn't have to change too much. The lyrics were pretty fantastic.
Yeah, they were pretty fantastic.
Oh boy.
Andrew said.
You should see him drive a bulldozer.
Way down south on the border of Mexico, with rattlesnakes, cactus, and banditos. Dirt and spurs, feed the hounds and let them go. As a boy, Marvin taught him where the big toms rove. An open country where the jaguars roam. Open country full of a different kind of gold. 16-hand mule saddled up before the sun glows. Nobody told him this wretched life is a hard road to hoe. Hiding the rising sun behind the Chiricahua's foes. He's mounted and moving for an all-day muleback stroll. An open country where the jaguars roam. Open country full of a different kind of gold. On a lion track in the dirt, 7 miles in, but where'd he go? Got a pack of white walkers that are philosophers like Thoreau. Working across the dirt like a farmer works his rows. Up the canyon, round the rock, chasing the ghost of a shadow. Through open country where the jaguars roam. Open country full of a different kind of gold. Open country will be lost if no one knows that this wild country's where the jaguar roams. They'll only catch him if he crosses the plateau. Chase him over the rim rocks, an old hook buries him in a hole. It's no lion he seeks, but a wildness he can't control. Who I'm talking about is Warner Glenn and his mule Mochomo.
Excellent.
Right.
Excellent.
Very good.
Oh man, it was
Man,
awesome in person.
That is cool, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
How did that feel to hear just watch him do that song?
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. Man, that sounds
Hey,
good.
thanks, guys.
Yeah,
That
that
is-
was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, so that song, if somebody didn't have any context, it possibly could be confusing. Warner Glenn is a mountain lion, dry ground mountain lion hunter, and that's why if you know about Warner Glenn, this song makes a lot of sense. Marvin is his dad, who's long passed away, but Marvin taught him where the big toms rove. That's in the beginning. He lives in the Chiricahua Mountains. Warner Glenn owns, I'm pretty sure, 17 mules, and hardly one of them's under 16 hands tall, which is really tall for a mule. Warner Glenn's 6'6", and needs a big mule.
Big guy.
He runs a pack of mixed walker dogs, and my favorite line in there is he's got a pack of white walkers that are philosophers like Thoreau, because these dogs are at the pinnacle of the hound hunting world for their ability to trail game, because it's the toughest conditions there is for trailing game, which is dry and hot. And so they're chasing the ghost of a shadow, which is cool. And then the chorus talks about jaguars though. And that part of the world is the only place in America where the range of the jaguar goes into America. And if you watched our film on the Meteor YouTube channel, you would see that Warner Glenn was the first person to ever document a live jaguar in America. His dogs, and I believe it was 1996, and then he did it again in the 2000s. He was lion hunting for mountain lions, which there are a lot of mountain lions out there, and his dogs bayed what he thought was a mountain lion. And he goes into the dogs, and it's a jaguar. And he has his camera with him, and he takes a photograph, and it's the first photograph ever of a jaguar, not dead. Now, there's a bunch of old photos of dead jaguars. First time they're like, yep, there's a live jaguar. And it was before trail cameras were real prominent and such. And yeah, there's a painting right there. You can buy that painting. I'm pretty sure the last name of that painter is McWilliams. But this I've got the jaguar that
DeLoss.
DeLoss,
That's what it says on the paint.
not McWilliams.
Yeah.
DeLoss, and you can
He's
buy
similar.
that.
Hey, that's the guy he bought the paint from.
Yeah,
McWilliams,
McWilliams paint. Yeah, down in southeast Arizona. But so when you're in that country, though, it's like Jaguar country, and that's kind of the lore. And Warner Glenn's 87, and he's seen 2. And most people have lived there their whole lives and seen 0. His dad always wanted to see a Jaguar and never did. His dad Marvin never caught a Jaguar.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it's incredibly rare. And so that's why the chorus talks about Jaguars, but the main thing is their lion hunting. And then he had a mule. I had to pick a mule name because he in his book, Warner Glenn has a book, and in his book he was given a mule named Mochomo from a rich, wealthy Mexican rancher who he and his dad went down into Mexico to catch lions off this ranch that were catching cattle and horse colts and stuff. And the man liked Warner so much that he gave him his finest. Well, as the story went, I'm pretty sure this wealthy rancher said, "Warner, you can have any one of my horses that you want." Some version of he offered him a horse, and Warner said, "You know what? I really don't want any of your horses, but I'd like that mule Mochomo." And so the rancher was like, "Really? You want the mule?"
He's like, "Have at it, bud."
and so Warner took Mochomo, and he became this like incredible mule. And so that's why I love Warner Glenn. He chose the mule
Over the horse.
Mm-hmm.
How about banjo?
What's that?
How about banjo?
Oh, dude.
Oh boy.
Did it
Let's
work?
not even go there.
Okay.
It's not time to release the
10-4.
information.
I'm just waiting.
But let me tell you this. I've been riding banjo all over these mountains for the last week.
It's true.
And got any offers of 10 grand?
Oh, next year, should I be desirous of selling him, he'll be worth 10 grand.
Excellent.
Wow.
I'll trade
He's
you my
a
pickup.
fantastic mule. He's beautiful, and he's doing very good.
Awesome.
I might even like him better than Izzy.
What?
Yeah, come on now.
She's out there. She's going to hear you say that.
Yeah, she's kind of a piece of work.
She is a piece
But-
of work.
Anyway,
She's a pain. to
that was
feed
cool,
every
Andrew. So
morning.
where can people find that song?
Oh, you can find it anywhere you stream music.
Spotify.
Download Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon.
Add it to your playlist.
Yeah.
Guess
Yeah,
who?
adding now.
Guess who gets the money? Me and Andrew.
There you go.
All right. Maybe
We may
maybe
make.
hundreds of dollars.
Oh,
Maybe
if we
tens
make
of dollars.
hundreds of dollars, I will quit Meat Eater and move to Nashville.
Everybody immediately now download the music. Download it.
I listen to that song all the time, and I've not seen a paycheck yet. So tell me, not by choice either. Clay loves that song. He loves listening to it in the car.
It's the only song he's got on his playlist.
I can
He's
always
got it on
tell
repeat.
when Clay's messed with my playlist because that comes on first. It's like, all right, that's enough.
Well, no, for real, you need to go check out Hawk and Horse.
Yes.
Hawk and Horse, you have a lot of songs.
Yeah.
My favorite one is Jeremiah Johnson, I think.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that song too.
I could watch that movie every day, and I've listened to
Yeah.
that song a bunch of times. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
What?
I've never seen it.
You never seen
movie?
Jeremiah
Really?
Johnson?
Really?
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
some things you
That's
just
sad.
don't tell,
That's
brother.
sad. Yeah.
I know.
You should have kept
I
that
need
to
to see
yourself. Well, that's incredible. Well, hey, the reason
before we get into it, can he tell us about this rifle?
yeah, quickly, because we've got
There's just
got
this
a lot to do
beautiful-
There's a
here.
lot going on today.
Beautiful rifle.
Yeah, tell us about the rifle.
Well, this is a 45 caliber Kibler Woods Runner, and it's their Jim Kibler is a gun builder out of Ohio, and he makes these CNC rifle kits, and they go together like Legos. I mean, I'm not some amazing woodworker. I just put this together, but anyway, this is my new baby, and I plan on taking a deer with it this year.
It's a true
Yes.
flintlock.
Yeah, it's a flintlock.
So it actually has a piece of flint
Yep.
that makes the spark that ignites the powder.
Yep. black powder only.
Wow.
And it's would you describe that as a Kentucky long rifle style gun?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is called a woods runner, so it's a little more nimble for running through the woods.
Yeah. It's a beautiful gun.
But yeah, it's a Pennsylvania, Kentucky long rifle, either one of those names. Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, so on Instagram, Andrew is Hawk and Horse, and he posts. It's kind of like an educational, in a way, channel about the frontier. Like he posts a lot of art and a lot of pictures, and he'll have information about. I mean, like I learned stuff following
It's good stuff.
Hawk and Horse on Instagram, a lot. But that's why he's kind of big into the flintlock and all this stuff.
It's actually Hawk and Horse Band.
That's
just in
correct.
case someone
Hawk
wants
and
to
Horse
follow
Band.
Hawk and Horse Band.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
On
No dots,
Instagram.
no underscores, just
Yeah, check it out. Check it out. Ready to win Mother's Day and cement your reputation as the best gift giver in the family? Give the moms in your life an Aura digital picture frame preloaded with decades of family photos. She'll love looking back on these memories and seeing what you're up to today. Even better, with unlimited storage and an easy-to-use app, you can keep updating mom's frame with new photos, so it's the gift that keeps on giving. And this is not a joke. Juju Newcomb has an Aura frame, and we share photos, and they're incredible. Also, my mother-in-law has one. We have them. They truly are really good, really high quality. The Aura frame is easy to set up. It takes just 2 minutes to set up a frame using the Aura app. It also adjusts the display depending on light levels in the room to maintain the true color of your photos. For real, the digital screen is amazing. Right now, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. Listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $30 off plus free shipping on their best-selling frame when you use code BEAR, B-E-A-R, BEAR. That's auraframes.com. Use code BEAR at checkout to save. Terms and conditions apply. The old-timers say that the turkeys start gobbling when the leaves are as big as squirrels' ears and the red buds start popping. And we're about there. And we are there in the South. The onX Hunt app is one of my most valuable tools in the spring woods. With tools like coniferous versus deciduous tree distribution layer, you can save time by locating edges or transition areas of mixing habitats from home. Find an area like this with water in close proximity, and more than likely, there will be a gobbling turkey nearby. Knowing the exact boundaries of private ground ensures I stay on the right side of the fence, but can easily find public ground to go see if I can't strike a gobbler. If you do get one to sound off, using compass mode and waypoints will help you pinpoint his exact location, allowing you to move in and make the perfect setup to bring him right into your lap. Download the onX Hunt app today. You'll be glad you did. onX has a special offer for you. Use code BEARGREASE to receive 20% off your membership at onxmaps.com/hunt this spring. Whitetail Institute launched the food plot revolution in 1988 with a concentration on research and real-world testing of forage products specifically for whitetail deer. Whitetail Institute's research and development team of agronomy experts provide effective, personalized service. I've been using Imperial Whitetail Clover for a long time in a food plot back behind my house. In 2007, I killed the biggest buck of my life over an Imperial Whitetail Clover small quarter-acre food plot. Imperial Whitetail Clover is the only clover scientifically developed through years of selective breeding. Clover Extreme genetic stability provides extreme cold tolerance, disease, and drought tolerance. It really does. Clover is coated with Whitetail Institute's Rain Bond, a polymer coating added for enhanced seedling survivability. They have an exclusive offer for Bear Grease listeners, 15% off Imperial Clover when you use the code BEAR at whitetailinstitute.com. That's whitetailinstitute.com and use code BEAR for 15% off. So the reason I wanted to have Andrew here today was because we were talking about Davy Crockett. Mm-hmm. And if you're new to the podcast on the Render, we talk about what happened the week before on the actual Bear Grease podcast. And guys, guess what? You're all in trouble because we have another quiz.
Oh,
Ding, 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 ding,
I knew
ding,
it.
ding,
I knew it. I
ding.
heard it.
We
I felt it
have
coming.
another quiz.
See if I can
Big time
win 2
quiz.
in a row.
The last quiz seemed to do. I felt like that it helped me
brought some energy.
gain control of my podcast again because I then know if you guys are paying attention. Because sometimes I'm like, how was the podcast last week? And y'all are like, oh, it was great. And I'm like, what was it about? Pop quiz.
Here's what happened on the way home from fishing this today. Me and Josh had you on at, what was that, 1.75?
1.25.
Oh, yeah.
1.25.
Oh, y'all were studying.
You were spitting out some info, Jack. It was like drinking from a fire hose from my ear.
Okay, here we go. The first person to answer,
Just blurt it out.
blurt it out. Even you can even cut the question in half.
Oh, see, that's
Each correct answer gets a point. Incorrect answers
many
are
questions?
minus 0.5.
Oh, I like it.
Incorrect answers are
Whoever wins
minus
gets that rifle.
0.5. And whoever wins gets the
Andrew's
rifle.
bam.
And his guitar.
I'm going to shoot a hole in that guitar with it.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. How quickly did Crockett marry
3 months.
Elizabeth
Under 3
after
months. Yeah.
Polly, his first wife?
Yeah.
3 months goes to Josh Lambridge,
Wow.
Spillmaker.
Man.
I feel like this quiz
That's where we cut it off.
disproportionately favors the impulsive.
Well,
You're too
the
nice.
impulsive-
Cannot deny it.
The impulsive are going to get minus points
Yeah.
if they get it wrong.
Wasn't that one of the Beatitudes? Blessed are the impulsive, for they will win the
I
quizzes.
don't think that was on there, Josh.
Remember that
I
one?
think you're reading
That's from the
something
book of
else.
Josh.
That was okay. So that was the way the podcast started off, was talking about his wife dying.
Yeah, boy, that was
And-
sad.
It was sad.
It was, and then he, within 3 months, married. We don't know the exact date that Polly died. I don't think that's like in the record. Well, it wasn't in the books that I read. It probably is on a headstone somewhere. We don't know exactly when she died, the day she died, but we do know that he got married on like
December.
March 15th.
What was December the 14th? What was that?
Could be a question on the quiz.
Well, that's my answer right now.
There's nothing happened on December 14th of note in the last 200 years. But it was very pragmatic. And that's where we went. And that's when Robert Morgan brought up this idea of pragmatism being a value
June
of the
the
American
11th.
front.
June
What?
the 11th, 1815, Polly died.
Negative.
That's what it says.
Okay, well, then Crockett married Elizabeth 2 months before that. We've got a major scandal.
Oh,
Bum, bum, bum.
I still get my point.
You still get your point. We're gonna have to get to the bottom of this. Let's not do that now.
Can't help it.
We're gonna have another episode now, folks.
Yeah. But pragmatism, Misty, you were gonna say something about pragmatism.
I want to say something.
Okay.
Go ahead. No, Misty,
you
go.
go ahead.
Let Misty
Brent.
talk.
No, it's all right. You go ahead. I'm trying to remember what I was going to say about pragmatism.
Well, I'll tell you what I was going to say about it because I want to say something about it too. I counted 8 times it was used in one paragraph. Pragmatism, pragmatic. That's very pragmatic.
Pragtastic.
It was used 8 times. I counted them while we was driving down the road. I was hoping that was going to be a test question. But that's all I had to say about it.
That's all. So you didn't
You used
have,
it 8
well,
times.
I thought it was good that it was it came up over and over.
It did.
It came up over and over. Okay,
Well,
question
that's the way
number
them
2.
folks were living, man.
But
It had to be that way.
what I thought, Robert Morgan was talking about how there was a lot of idealism though in the South that
Right.
and I'm trying to remember, was he saying idealism was an American? It is, because you said it's uniquely
Not
American, and he
idealism.
said it's not unique, but it is American.
Right. Well, but then he contrasted the North and the South and the Civil
And he talked
War.
about in the Civil War.
And he talked about how the South was part of the reason some believe they lost the war, was they were more idealistic, less pragmatic.
Mm-hmm.
And so the South would have been kind of excluded from the pragmatic American thinking that was what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I like that quote he he said when you guys were talking, Robert Morgan said something to the effect of "Nothing is the end of the world."
Yeah.
in America.
I actually have that quote written
Yeah,
down.
that hit home. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's the American way right there.
Yeah. And the idea that the actual geographic size of America gave us so much opportunity. And then that became part of the national character was opportunity. And it all goes back to land, which in human history, it almost always goes back to land. Like, who's got the land?
Yeah.
And do you own it? That's like the story. I mean, even all the way back to the Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve, the land and the people. And in America, coming from this really overcrowded Europe that was settled from shore to shore for the most part, they came to this huge place which in the American ideal was a wilderness. But my friend Taylor Keene, a couple years ago, he was the first one I remember saying it to me. He said, the idea that America was a wilderness is a farce. It wasn't. It was a robust civilization. But to the European, it looked like wilderness. To the Native Americans, it looked like a great civilization.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's a whole other story. But basically, we came in and had all this room to grow, room to mess up, room to become wealthy. And so, I mean, it's really a part of the American story is the land, which is wild. And the more I dig into American history, the more I realize how wild it is that there's not like 5 countries inside of what is now the continental U.S. It totally would have made sense. I mean, that's what the South tried to do with the Civil War was to make their own country.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's a wonder there wasn't, a Spanish. I mean, it was so broken up. So many people had stakes in it. And the fact that it became from Atlantic to Pacific, the same nation is wild.
Well, it is one big hunk of ground. It is 3 countries. Mexico and United States and Canada.
And that's why I said, what is now the continental U.S. Right.
It is part of the challenge that I think America's facing right now is all of these, that it's not just geographic spread, but the diversity of ideas and the diversity of, and one of the challenges that we give our students every year in one of our classes is to, think about the U.S. in terms of different countries and how would you put it together? And some people do it just by geography, but a lot of the students say, well, it's more about ideals, and they try to group people by ideals. And our school has a hybrid bent to it, and so kids are actually coming from all over the U.S. And there was a big famous article about 10 years ago, the 9 nations of North America, and it's challenging because it's not geographically split. It's really more split off of a set of ideals.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Question number 2. What topic did host Clay Newcomb ask the Render members to ask
Alabama
him
and how he
about?
almost died in Alabama.
Boom! Answer. The point goes to Andrew Wills.
That was good.
That was
Man.
good. Yes. Okay. So there's only so much you can talk about. Crockett goes down to Alabama. He's married to Elizabeth. He goes down to Alabama, and he gets incredibly sick. He's traveling with 2 guys, just Tennesseans, and he gets so sick, probably malaria, and they think he's dead. And now, it would be interesting to get the real story of, like, how do you think a guy is dead to the point that he's alive when you leave him, that you're leaving him. I mean, it's almost like some of your best friends going fishing without you and not even telling you that they went. But no, it's so.
Especially when your life goal is to be a commercial fisherman.
If you're a commercial fisherman, you ain't fly fishing.
That's true.
So these guys that are like his neighbors and such take his horse back to Elizabeth and is like, Crockett's dead.
Sorry.
It's over.
And I don't think it was scandalous. There was no talk of like they were shysters because they took his horse back to his
thought he
wife.
was dead. Yeah.
Right.
And so I don't know what circumstances drove them to not nurse him or take him. We don't really know because he just talks about it in his autobiography. And so takes the horse back to the wife and says, he gone. And she goes, I don't think he's dead. And perhaps they told her, we think he's dead. Like when we left him, he was really sick.
Pretty certain.
And basically he tries to walk home and he's on the side of the road in Alabama and 2 Indians come by. And they take him
When
to
he's
the near,
sick?
he's dying.
It's Fess Parker.
After these guys left him, and they take him to the nearest home of a white person, and just this random house, and these Native Americans drop Crockett off, and they say, "Here's a dude."
Somebody broke your white man.
Yeah.
Okay,
good
I
Samaritan.
think we need to come up with a pact here, guys. If you are ever out in the hunting woods with Clay, leave the mule.
He's gone.
Bring him back, all right? Dead or alive. We'd like to go ahead and have that body back just so that we can
if it's Banjo
double
or
check,
Izzy.
confirm, especially if there's any sense of uncertainty about it. Let's just
Okay.
go out and bring him back.
Is
Okay.
he breathing? I don't know.
So Crockett
Grab the horse.
Crockett goes into this house, and they give him. They have some kind of bottle of medicine, and there's a name for it.
Chicken
Some
broth.
kind of an elixir.
Some incredibly powerful elixir, yeah. And they give him like the whole bottle, and he's supposed to just take a little bit of it, and he stays unconscious for 5 days.
Man, let me tell
Laudanum.
you.
He's unconscious for
Laudanum.
5 days. Laudanum,
Was it laudanum?
yeah,
It's got opium in it.
Got opium in it.
that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's like
And
Oh wow.
yeah, it's like taking some hydrocodone.
that's exactly what it was. And then, and he's unconscious for 5 days, and then finally like comes awake, stays with him for 2 weeks, and then goes back to Elizabeth. And she had already sent a guy out to go check on him. So when he's coming back, the guy's going out, and she's like, "You're alive." But I thought it was interesting talking about how common that was back in those days for people to just think,
Leave the human, bring the horse home.
yeah, just for people to think someone was dead because there was just no communication. And it was just so common for people to die. And so, I mean, that happened so many times. It happened with Boone, and it happened all over. And the idea that thinking someone's dead and them not being dead
Yeah.
and showing back up, can you think of a scenario with the possibility for a more strong human response
Right.
Yeah.
to just, I mean, like somebody could die and you get like an emotional response of, oh, he's dead. Someone could get lost. You know they're alive, but they're found. It's like, well, we never thought he was dead. He was just gone for a while. Somebody dies, it's like game over.
It's the lowest of lows to the highest of highs, like
And
that.
then
Yeah.
they come back.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could probably write a song about that. Andy.
Yeah, probably.
You should.
I'm already
and-
thinking about
That's
it.
in the hook
He's
book.
scribbling something on his palm right now.
But then even taking that back to the pinnacle of the Christian faith,
Yeah.
which is Jesus died
Right.
3 days later, came back.
But he legit died.
He did. It wasn't fake.
Right.
And so that's just interesting. It was interesting to me. So thank you for reminding me. That was Andrew. Thank you for reminding me. The score is 1. Andrew 1. Josh Spillmaker
Stop
1.
pointing at him.
Brent 0. Misty 0.
I would like to get a half a point because Andrew said Alabama, but I said near death experience in Alabama, and
No,
I
Misty
screamed.
He said
gets-
it quicker.
Misty
Okay,
gets
we're moving on.
0.33 points.
Question number 3. In Crockett's first term in office, what nickname did he pick up that he used
Cane
for
Land.
the rest of
Man
his
from
life?
the Cane
Gentleman
Land.
from the cane.
Oh.
Gentleman from the
Bam!
cane.
Goes to Misty
Misty!
Newcomb.
Dang, I don't even remember that.
Nailed it. You picked
Way to
it right.
go.
You picked his
I
pocket.
picked his pocket. that's
Gentleman
right.
from the cane.
I'm over here like the dude from the cane.
Gentleman from the cane.
That's it.
So that was
Misty's on the book, y'all.
Andrew
That's a
1,
win.
Misty 1, Josh 1, Brent 0.
Misty
Hey.
1.33.
That was I thought that was a cool story.
Yeah.
And it was early in his life. He was young. It was his first time in public office. This
Yep.
guy really literally came off the American frontier. All of a sudden is put in this place of proper men inside of a political system that still, even though it's on the American frontier, is quite aristocratic. I mean, we like to think, and this is where Crockett's influence in America is seen so strong, is that all these Europeans came from Europe. And I mean, what do you think when you see a picture of George Washington and Benjamin Franklin? They look like Europeans.
Yeah.
I mean, they're wearing the European clothes. They got the European hairstyles. They were breaking away from that, and their ideals were very different.
Right.
But still, there was a big tinge of kind of this aristocracy, and the rich folks lead, and there was the common man that would never have the ability to like make this jump. And if you weren't a landowner, you didn't have any power. And so Crockett, coming from the frontier, and remember, he's the first one really, and he's standing up before the Tennessee State Legislature, and this old guy, who we don't even know his name anymore, he is reinforcing to the world that this commoner shouldn't be here. So I mean, it's really showing the ideals of Europe.
Yeah.
And he says, the gentleman from the cane, totally belittling him. The cane, it would be like saying the Hicks from the Sticks.
Yeah.
Right.
These guys. Crockett comes back the next day wearing as a joke a ruff, and stands up and introduces himself as the gentleman from the cane, charms the whole place, makes this guy look like an idiot, and for the rest of his life, he called himself the gentleman from the cane. Now that he was playing chess, well, them boys was playing
That's
checkers.
Yeah, that was a good analogy.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Whew. Okay, final question.
It's a tie.
It's a tie.
It's a 3-parter.
What words did David Crockett have his portrait artist, John Gadsby Chapman,
Go ahead.
paint?
Go ahead.
Bam! Paint
way
on the
to
stock
go.
of his gun. Andrew Wilt comes in
Way
with
to
a steal.
go, Andrew.
You,
Go
sir,
ahead.
win a Kentucky long rifle. Shoo!
And a guitar.
I was nervous.
True, it's working hard to bring those things back home.
So now Andrew can make a
Congratulations.
living and feed his family.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
relieved. I just got that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So that was
Excellent.
that was Crockett's. That was his. Just what he said, and he wanted that written on his gun. What did y'all think about? Well, I had somebody communicate with me that they didn't understand what Crockett's blunder was. They thought that I was saying that Crockett's blunder was him opposing the Indian Removal Act.
No,
I felt like I made it clear.
you actually said that was Crockett's blunder. Crockett's blunder was because I thought you did make it clear, and you actually restated it. It was him
going on the book
kind
tour.
of forsaking his duties as a congressman
Yeah.
and instead going on a book tour to
Yeah.
pursue
Maybe
fame.
that guy didn't finish the podcast.
Uh,
Because it was clear that the Indian Removal Act, the opposition to that, hurt him politically.
Yeah.
Right.
But that I think was his most noble, one of his
exactly.
most
Yeah.
noble
Absolutely.
moments, which was very, at the time, would have been like pretty highly progressive. That's probably
Yeah.
the wrong word to use. Today you hear progressive and it brings political connotation. I just mean he was ahead of his
But it
time.
really was like a civil rights move.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it would have been, and I learned this today that there were some Native American chiefs that were communicating with him, like thanking him for opposing it.
Really?
Yeah, so he actually did have some connection to that community, you know. But yeah, that was pretty big.
So one of my favorite parts, just not anything really deep, but we got a really good chuckle out of him when he's on the campaign tour, getting up and going first and reciting his opponent's complete campaign speech. Can you imagine?
Shep and I did too.
I mean, that was
Yeah.
genius, absolute genius.
Yes.
Yeah, I was actually driving a bunch of boys to basketball practice, and we were listening to this, and they thought that whole section, him knocking on the door with a wooden broom.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Now, Miss
laughed.
Newcomb, you would have thought that was inappropriate.
I did think it was inappropriate, but he didn't do anything. I mean, he didn't.
You thought it was funny, didn't you?
I think it's the
I just
first.
think he's a character. I
It's
mean,
the first farmer-daughter joke in history.
he wrote it.
He did. A dude was a comedian.
Yeah. Oh, he was. That's it. I mean, he was full of. He was full
It.
full
Of
of
it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it. He was full of it.
Yeah, and then he was just it became so common in America for us to have like this folksy
yeah.
backwoods talk.
Mhm.
Well, he was the first one to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, and you see that when Robert Morgan talked about his influence on Lincoln.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. Yeah.
That was pretty major, and I wouldn't have necessarily made that connection.
When he started
wouldn't
laying
have
out
either.
the connections, I was like, oh, yeah, I can see it real clearly.
Well, it was not a template for a commoner backwoodsman to be able to step on the political stage.
Yeah.
And Lincoln, Crockett dies in 1836, and then Lincoln is, obviously president in the 1860s, and he's an older man when he's president. So their lives, I don't know when
Would have overlapped.
they would have overlapped. So I'm not sure when Lincoln was born, but you see a generation of influence. It's like all of a sudden there was a space.
Yeah.
And that's the way society and culture works, is that someone pioneers a space, like a cultural space for somebody to do something. It's like, oh, I didn't know that I could be a politician. Oh, I didn't know that this kind of talk and connecting to society worked. And so that's how Lincoln stood out, was that he was from the frontier and he stood out. And so, anyway,
1809, LaRue County, Kentucky.
So
he was born in
30 years old.
1809. So they
That was when
overlapped a
Lincoln was
lot.
born. Mhm.
That's great. Andrew, why don't you close us down by playing the Ballad of Davy Crockett?
Love
And-
it.
What key are you in?
Of course, I'm going to sing.
Do you need to know that you've got perfect pitch?
That was a mosquito. Or tendonitis. Tendonitis. Which one is it in your ear?
Tinnitus.
Yeah. One of them.
Tendonitis is usually an injury associated with tennis.
With tennis. Oh, no, it's from fly fishing.
All right.
Here we go.
Born on a mountaintop of Tennessee,
Yeah.
greenest state in the land of the free. Raised in the woods, so he knew every tree. Killed him a bar when he was only 3.
Everybody.
Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier.
That's right.
Fought single-handed through the Indian War, till the creeks was whipped and peace was in store. While he was handling this risky chore, he made himself a legend forevermore. Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier. He went off to Congress and served a spell, fixing up the government, the laws as well. He took over Washington, so I hear tell. He patched up the crack in the Liberty Bell. Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier. When he come home, his politicking done. Why, the westward march had just begun. So he packed his gear and his trusty gun. And he lit out a grinning to follow the sun. Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier. All right, here's the last one.
Here we go.
He heard of Houston and Austin, and so to the Texas plains he had to go. The freedom was fighting another foe, and they needed him at the Alamo. Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier.
That's some foreshadowing.
If that would have been in Spanish, would none of that rhyme.
See,
Thanks a ton, Andrew. Thanks for
absolutely.
coming, man.
Thanks for
Enjoy your
having
new
me.
rifle.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm excited to
congratulations
shoot
on
that
the rifle.
Big win for you.
It's gonna be like
And I hate to move in on your scene there in Nashville and start writing songs, but
A man's got to do what a man's got to do.
Come on down and make hundreds of dollars.
Today I make hundreds of dollars writing songs. Yes.
I'm out of here.
Excellent. Well, we have one more episode of Crockett.
I'm excited.
And it's almost like its own thing. It
Yeah.
could stand alone.
It could stand
Oh,
alone.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Thank you all. Thank you all so much.
Everybody listen to This Country Life, and thank you for the folks that are.
Yeah. This Country Life
Yeah,
with
man.
Brent Reeves. It's going well.
See you Friday. Every Friday morning.
Every Friday morning. Excellent.
Sport Dog is the most recognized brand in the hunting dog training industry. The Sport Dog promise to customers is simple: gear the way you design it. Every product Sport Dog builds is meticulously designed and rigorously tested in the field, ensuring it withstands the toughest conditions you and your dog may encounter. Using tracking equipment on my squirrel and coon dogs is extremely important to me. Get 20% off your first purchase using the code BEARGREASE. Go to www.sportdog.com/beargrease to learn more.
I'm sure a lot of you guys remember the old ceremonial hunting tradition of eating the heart out of the first animal you kill. Meat from those organs are among the most nutrient-rich foods on the planet. You can get those same benefits your ancestors craved via convenient daily capsules from Heart and Soil. Find out more at heartandsoil.co. And remember, use code MeatEater for 10% off your purchase.